great eater as well.
I've been talking with competitive eater Crazy Legs Conti. Crazy Legs, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hot dog! Hot dog! Hot dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog. Now we got ears, it's time for cheers. Hot dog, hot dog.
WNYC supporters include Bosch e-bike systems, offering e-bike riders a customized ride system whether they're on their morning commute or on a ride through the countryside. More information is available at local bike dealers or at ebike.com.
Monday night, the Empire State Building will be emblazoned in WNYC red in honor of our 100th birthday. This is Brian Lehrer, inviting you to come along for a nostalgic audio tour through the WNYC archives, then listen to a live recreation of the inaugural broadcast in 1924. Join me, my colleagues, and performer Sarah Jones for a centennial celebration, July 8th at 7, live on WNYC.
Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next, and then in 10 minutes at 9 o'clock, it's the BBC News Hour. Let's check in with London to see what they're working on.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm James Menendez. Today on NewsHour, Israel says it's studying the latest proposals from Hamas about a possible hostage release and ceasefire in Gaza. We'll talk to the Israeli government. Also, the election in France, how immigration is driving a wedge between communities in the port of Marseille. That's BBC NewsHour at 9 on WNYC.
We've got partly sunny skies on this 4th of July. We have highs in the mid-80s and a slight chance of rain tonight.
Is Social Security a drag on national debt? It depends on your definition of debt.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Total Wine and More. Total Wine and More, helping shoppers love what they find at TotalWine.com. Spirits not sold in Virginia or North Carolina. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
For Marketplace, I'm Nova Safwin for David Brancaccio. Happy 4th of July. There are all kinds of ideas for how to shrink the government's annual budget shortfall and minimize its impact on the national debt. There are also a lot of ideas about which federal spending actually contributes to annual deficits. Social Security, for example. Marketplace's senior Washington correspondent Kimberly Adams is here with more on this. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning, Nova.
So when politicians talk about the national debt, Social Security spending often comes up as playing a big role. Why is that?
Almost 70 million Americans receive Social Security benefits, and that program pays out about $1.5 trillion a year, but that is more than the program brings in from payroll taxes. So, according to Romina Baccia at the Cato Institute, the federal government has to use deficit spending to close that gap.
Social Security has added more than $110 billion to the national debt in 2023 and will add more than $500 billion to the national debt by 2033, because in order for Treasury to continue to pay full benefits, it has to raise money by issuing new bonds.
She mentions 2033 there because that's one of the estimates for when the Social Security Trust Fund will run out.
And yet, Social Security can't run a deficit or add to the debt. Isn't that right?
Right. According to the law, Social Security cannot create debt or add to the deficit. It has its own separate budget. And the Social Security Administration, along with many researchers and progressive politicians, say the program doesn't contribute to deficits at all. But the whole issue kind of turns on how you define add to the deficit. Right now, the Social Security shortfall is being filled by spending down past surpluses in that Social Security Trust Fund I mentioned. Doug Arnold has written a bunch of books on Social Security and is a professor emeritus at Princeton. He says the past surpluses in the trust fund are invested in special treasury bonds.
And as Social Security needs them and will need them in the coming years, then Social Security will redeem those treasuries, just as I would do in retirement, or as a pension fund would do, or as an ordinary investor.
The issue here is that to pay back those bonds when Social Security redeems them, the federal government has to take on new debt, basically taking the debt held by the Social Security program and turning it into debt held by the private market. So depending on whether you consider the Treasury Department paying its bond obligations as driving deficits or not, that's what's pretty much going to determine where you land on the question of whether Social Security is a big driver of the national debt.
So it's a matter of what the definition of debt is?
Yeah, something like that.
Marketplace's senior Washington correspondent Kimberly Adams, thank you.
You're welcome.
U.S. markets are closed today no matter how you define it in observance of the Independence Day holiday. They'll reopen tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Wall Street time. And the June jobs report is something to keep an eye on tomorrow. It comes out before markets open. Economists are forecasting solid gains, though likely less than what they were in May. Take that forecast with a grain of salt. The resilient labor market has continued to surprise. Economists were caught off guard earlier this week by the latest number of job openings. They were expecting a decline. Job openings increased to 8.1 million.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden Password Manager. Whatever your summer plans, Bitwarden can allow secure access to accounts and devices. Available for download at bitwarden.com.
In India, one company is offering female workers heat wave insurance, which pays out compensation if temperatures hit a set level. It's helped more than 50,000 women cover their basic expenses when they missed out on work due to extreme temperatures. The BBC's Archana Shukla reports.
With her bare hands, Hansa Nadia is sifting through piles of trash strewn along the roadside. It's sweltering in Ahmedabad, but Hansa, a waste picker, is out working. Plastics, paper, metal cans. That's her collection after 6 hours run under the blazing sun. Last month, a heat stroke stole 6 days of work, leaving her weak, she tells me. Her monthly income halved to just $30. But there's respite. Hansa has an insurance for hot days.
I got $14 as insurance money. It helped me buy food for my family and medicines for myself. I could avoid working on days when it was too hot.
In the local market, it's hitting 44 degrees Celsius on the scale. Blistering heat is putting millions of poor Indians at risk. Most are part of the country's unorganized workforce, doing ad hoc jobs with no support. Women are among the worst affected, especially those on meager incomes like $60 to $70 a month. And for them, this heat insurance have actually come as a breather. When mercury reaches a threshold, in Ahmedabad it is 44 degrees Celsius, those insured get an automatic payment of $4 a day. Sheikh Sabira is pasting colorful papers to make kites. She's sweating profusely, but cannot use the fan, with loads of kite paper sheets lying around.
I get 3 cents per kite, but because of the heat, I can't sit for long. Have made just half the number of kites. The insurance money has helped.
But with heat waves becoming more frequent and intense, meager payouts may not be enough. Anisha Mohammed Yunus works with the Self-Employed Women's Association that runs this novel heat insurance program. She says to scale it up, a policy push is needed.
Social Security Act hai.
Can heatwave insurance be included in the Social Security Act? Could the unspent welfare funds for construction workers and salt pan workers be redirected to climate support? We need to ask these questions, and both government and private sectors need to partner.
This is the BBC's Archana Shukla for Marketplace.
A lot is going on in the global economy, even on a holiday. Listen later to Marketplace with Kristen Schwab in for Kai Rizdal. You can catch the show on many public radio stations or at marketplace.org. I'm Nova Safa with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.